So today it is day 11 of 15 days of foundation. This is where I'm testing out a new foundation every single day for 15 days. New video goes up every single day, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you've missed any of days 1 through 10, those are all linked down below in a playlist in the description box, along with everything else you ever want to know in life. So today's product is the Younique Mineral Touch Liquid Foundation. This is that foundation that you've probably seen on Facebook 5,000 times where someone draws a Sharpie all over their face and covers it up with this. Not putting Sharpie on my face today, thought about it. If you are on social media at all, you've probably seen this floating around or been directly approached by one of the presenters. This is a direct sales company and they sell primarily through social media, which means that there's different representatives, presenters they're called, that sign up to be essentially a salesperson for Younique. So they make a commission off of every single sale. It's kind of like being an affiliate for a company, except these are a lot of people's either side jobs or full-time jobs. You know, obviously you're gonna try and sell as many as you can. So their sales approach has been critiqued by some people, but I think do you, if you want to be a presenter for something that you believe in, go for it. As always, I'm brutally honest about products. If I love a product, I'll tell you. If I hate it, I'll also tell you. Just because of the way that this product is sold, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to treat it just as any other foundation that I would. Everyone has different likes and dislikes in products, so what I'm saying is my opinion. Do your own research, watch different videos, read different reviews, form your own opinions. I purchased this on my own, bought this with my own money. I have zero affiliation with Younique. They are not sponsoring this video. I have no affiliation with any Younique presenter. All right, now that we have that disclaimer up there, let's jump into the claims. So I'm on Younique's website. This retails for $39. You actually only get 0.68 fluid ounces of product in here, which is quite a bit less than a standard liquid foundation. Standard liquid foundation, you get about 1 fluid ounce of product. So this you're only getting 0.68 and it's pretty pricey, $39. It comes in 13 shades. I have the lightest shade, Scarlet. So let's read about it. It says it's a smooth foundation that goes on liquid and dries to a soft, powdery finish, while optical diffusers blur imperfections and minimize wrinkles and pores. No touch-ups necessary. Each shade is also available in corresponding blah, blah, blah. I like that on here they explain all the ingredients. I don't think I've ever seen that on a product page. They actually tell you what the ingredient is and why they included it, so that's kind of cool. I'm actually going to screenshot this because I feel like this is helpful. So shade Scarlet says for very light skin with neutral undertones. The one up from that is Organza and it says for light skin with pink undertones. So I'm going to show you guys swatches right now of Scarlet compared to some of the other foundations that I own. Alright, swatch time. So right here is the Younique foundation in Scarlet. Next is Tarte Rainforest of the Sea in Fair Neutral, Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless 110, NARS Sheer Glow in Siberia, Urban Decay Naked Skin in 0.5, and L'Oreal True Match in W1. Someone asked the other day why I swatch against other brands, and the reason is for shade comparison. The lightest shades of foundations are super different across different brands, so this is just a comparison so you can see if you think it'll work for you. On their website, I don't see anything about what kind of coverage this is supposed to be, but I've heard it's supposed to be sheer to medium. I don't actually see that on this page. So that is all the claims on this product. It has a glass bottle and a little dropper thing right here, which you will see in the demo part of this video. If you're excited about 15 days of foundation, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Only a few more days left. Crazy. If you're new here, you can join the Bayrito family and subscribe. It'll notify you every single time I put up a new video. I have tons of different foundation playlists. So if you want to see my thoughts on the Younique Mineral Touch Liquid Foundation and how it applies and wears throughout the day, you're in the right place, just keep watching. Alright, so I've already washed, moisturized, primed my face using my Jouer Anti-Blemish Matte Primer like I do every single day. I think the LA Girl foundation that we used yesterday actually broke me out, but I have combination skin. I usually get pretty oily throughout the day on my T-zone, have a bunch of acne scarring and stuff to cover up. I'm going to shake this like they say to do. It says to apply it with your fingers and then work it in with a brush on their website, but I've seen a bunch of presenters putting it just directly drops onto the brush. It sounds very liquidy. So in the past, all those videos that you see, they're typically using a brush that looks something like this, a kabuki brush. This one is by e.l.f. and this looks way too flimsy to me to really give me any kind of coverage or anything, so I'm not going to be using this one. They actually just released a new brush this year that they say now is the best for this foundation, and it looks like that Bare Minerals brush. It has like a little dip in the middle where you drop the foundation into and then you blend it out. I have a few different brushes I'm going to try here that have different firmness and everything, so we'll just see which one works best. The first one I'm going to try is the Morphe G36. This is just a kabuki brush. This is the most firm of the three, closest to like the Sigma F80, except it has a little more bend to it. So I'm going to try this one out first on this side of my face. I think I'm first going to try to just put the drops directly on my foundation brush, which is what all the presenters used to do. If that doesn't work, I'll go ahead and just put it on my palette and blend it onto my face. I am very curious about this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and do 1, 2. I'm gonna do, okay, 6-ish drops. And let's go ahead. Whoa, okay, that scent is extremely strong. Woo, I'm not usually sensitive to scents, but this is like interesting. Blends out really easily, feels super lightweight, kind of like the Maybelline Dream Liquid Foundation or the YSL Fusion Ink, which I have reviews on both of those. Yeah, blended out super easily and quick. This looks about light coverage. It covered up some of my redness, but there's still a ton of freckles and scarring and everything coming through. So off this one layer with this brush, it looks like light coverage. I'm just gonna use 2 drops for my forehead. It almost feels like, it feels a little bit oilier than the YSL Fusion Ink. I'm not sure if that's gonna set, but right now, yeah, it feels kind of oily. So on this side of my face, I'm gonna try, I'm deciding between the Morphe E2 and the E1. I think I'm gonna try this one. So let's go in with the E1, and this time I'm gonna put it directly on the palette. Okay, so this brush just soaked up all of that. I don't even know where that went. Let's try that again. I'm gonna put this one directly on the brush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I definitely don't like a flimsier brush. It's kind of just disappearing into the brush. I'm gonna go back to the G36. This isn't one of those foundations that you can like stipple. I feel like you really have to blend this in. I usually get the best coverage stippling my foundations on, but this one I think you gotta blend. Extremely light coverage, and it looks and feels a little bit oily. It might just be because it hasn't set into a powder yet. I am gonna see if this is buildable. I feel like the best way has been putting it directly on this brush. Okay, that did nothing. Okay, this side for the second layer, I just put it on the palette and dipped my brush in, and I feel like we just got way better coverage that way. It looks like straight up grease. And I did shake mine really well. It feels like it's sliding around on my face, and I just went to blend that in with my finger, and it like totally removed all that. So I just put quite a bit of product on my face, and the most I could get it to is about medium. This side looks like low medium coverage to me. It didn't cover any of my freckles or anything. I don't know how the heck this covered marker, because it can't even cover a freckle right now. It is supposed to dry down to a powder finish, so we'll see. But before this totally sets into a powder, I am going to do my under eye concealer. My finger just like nicked this, and if you touch it, it literally comes off. Okay, so there is weird stuff going on in my face. It looks like it's not really holding on at all underneath my nose. Like, what's going on over here? This is going to be really hard for you guys to see, but basically where I put the powder, it looks like 2 different layers right here. Happened on this side too. I hope you can see this, but there's literally a line of the powder and then the foundation. So I definitely think I am gonna set the rest of my face just so I don't have this weird line going on. It's been on for about 10 minutes now, and it does look like it's starting to get a little bit less oily, but my forehead still looks pretty oily. It does look like it's mattifying down here for sure. I am gonna set this though, because if I just touch my finger to my face, it literally totally comes off. I'm gonna use my IT Cosmetics Celebration Foundation Illumination to set. So it definitely looks a lot better now that I set my face. That line isn't as noticeable right now. My forehead doesn't look great. It's kind of emphasizing some dry parts in the center of my face. And I did moisturize and everything like I normally do before putting on foundation. We're gonna call the check-in time 10:30. I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. All right, so it is now 10:53. The rest of my makeup is on. Blush, bronzer, highlight blended out totally fine on top. There's something weird going on under my eyes that my under eye concealer or powder does not like this product. It's like clumping up really weird underneath my eyes. It might have been putting the concealer on top of the powder finish, even though it wasn't a powder finish yet. My forehead doesn't look great. My forehead looks a little bit scaly almost. At this point, it doesn't look horrible, it doesn't look great. So on the rest of my face, use the Kat Von D Shade and Light eye palette on my eyes. On my cheeks, all I used was MAC Taupe blush. I had a little bit of blush left over on my brush, so I think it kind of added a little bit to it. And then the new LA Girl Strobe Light Strobing powder in 120 Watt. This is like a white highlight, freaking intense. And then the Balm Meet Matte Hughes in the shade Charming. And that is everything. So next check-in I do will be in natural lighting. I will check back in a few hours. All right, so it's now 3:30 in the afternoon, so foundation's been on for 5 hours. The lighting right now, it is like dark outside. I don't know what is going on. So lipstick is wearing off. We can ignore that. I actually like it better right now than when I first applied it. I think it's kind of like warming up to my skin. It looks really nice right now. It does look a little bit heavy in certain areas, like around here in my nose, but nothing horrible. This side looks okay. The rest of my face looks good. My forehead looks better than when I first applied it, I think. When you're just looking at my face, it looks normal. And then when I go back, I don't know if you can see this, but like down here, it looks like I have like an orange line. So I'm going to go eat lunch. It is 3:30, haven't even eaten yet. And I'm gonna check back in at the end of the night. Okay, it is now 9:24, so the foundation's been on for 11 hours. So I'm looking pretty greasy. My forehead looks like it's separating a little bit. It's also very greasy pretty much everywhere. I normally get a little oily on my face, but especially for setting with the powder, this is pretty oily for me. I do think it's oxidized a little bit throughout the day. My chest is definitely a different color than my face, but it's not horrible. Like, it doesn't look orange or anything. I'm really wondering how these people covered up Sharpie. That's like what I've been thinking about this whole day. I have no idea, because for the amount of product I put on, I probably ended up putting on literally about at least 20 drops since I did 2 layers. This on 1 layer, even on 2 layers, is very low coverage in my opinion. For the amount of product I had to use, this thing is not cheap. I think this would only make sense getting if you have very dry skin and you need light coverage. If you want something similar to this, like similar feel and idea, but that has a little bit more coverage, I would say go with the Maybelline Dream Liquid Foundation. That's like under 10 bucks, I'm pretty sure, or the YSL one, which is obviously a high-end version of that. But the YSL one does have a little bit more coverage than both of those. I don't think this is horrible. Like, nothing looks totally out of the blue bad. It just doesn't really make sense for me for the money. I don't know. Even if you do like light coverage, I just don't know if this one is worth it. Keep in mind, this is my personal opinion. Like I said at the beginning, do your own research. You might really love this, but just my 2 cents on it. I'm not that into this. I can't really think of one particular skin type or anything that I would be like, yes, you need this in your life. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.